Think about the last movie that actually got you. The one that made you feel something real. That lump in your throat, that fist pump when the hero finally wins, that ache when someone died. Now here's something that should genuinely mess with your head. That movie, that exact feeling, it was engineered over 2,500 years ago. Not the story, the formula. The precise machine that reached into your chest and squeezed. You think you're watching something modern, something Hollywood dreamed up with its billion-dollar budgets and CGI. You're not. You're watching a Greek play. You're sitting in an ancient Athenian theater, you just don't know it, and by the end of this video, you will never watch a movie the same way again. Let's get the big claim out of the way first, because it's a bold one. Hollywood, for all its money and technology and spectacle, invented almost nothing. Nearly every single lever that a modern movie pulls to control how you feel was designed, tested, and perfected by the ancient Greeks before Rome was even a serious power. The hero, the villain, the twist, the tears, the sequels, the stars, all of it. Hollywood didn't create the recipe, it just got a bigger kitchen. And once you see the original recipe, you can't unsee it in anything you watch ever again. So let's start with the single most important ingredient, the hero. Picture the main character of the last big film you saw. I'll bet money they follow a very specific shape. They start as someone ordinary or flawed. They get a calling, an adventure they don't want. They face trials, they hit a moment where all is lost, and then they rise, transformed, to win. That shape has a name, and it is ancient. The Greeks built their entire dramatic tradition around the hero with a gift and a fatal flaw. A great man brought low by one weakness, or an underdog who rises against impossible fate. Every superhero, every action lead, every reluctant chosen one you've ever watched is walking a path carved into stone by Greek playwrights 2.5 millennia ago. When you cheer for the hero, you're cheering for a character type older than the alphabet you're reading. But the Greeks didn't stop at heroes. They gave those heroes something to stand next to. Gods. Now here's where it gets almost funny. Think about the biggest franchise on the planet right now. A team of godlike beings, each with a signature power. One controls lightning, one controls the sea, one is a genius warrior, one is impossibly strong. They squabble, they fight, they team up, they have petty rivalries and grand battles. Does that sound familiar? Because that is not a modern idea. That is Mount Olympus. That is the Greek pantheon exactly. Zeus and his thunderbolt, Poseidon and his sea, Athena the warrior of wisdom, Ares the brute of war, all of them bickering and scheming and occasionally saving mortals. Modern superheroes are not new characters. They are the old gods, put in spandex and given a movie deal. We didn't stop worshipping the pantheon, we just started buying tickets to it. And we gather in dark rooms by the millions to watch the gods clash, exactly like the Greeks gathered on their hillsides to watch the same thing. Which brings us to the strangest part of all, why we go at all, why we willingly pay to feel terrible. Stop and think about how bizarre this actually is. You will pay real money, give up an evening, to sit in the dark and watch a story that makes you cry. That fills you with dread, grief, fear. On paper, that's insane. Who pays to feel bad? But you do it, and you feel weirdly good afterward, lighter, cleaner, like something got released. The Greeks not only knew about this, they gave it a name and built their whole theater around it. Catharsis, the purging of emotion through watching a story. They understood, 25 centuries ago, that humans need to feel intense emotions in a safe container. That watching a hero suffer lets you release your own suffering. That fear and pity, felt from a comfy seat, actually heal something in you. Every tearjerker, every horror film, every gut punch drama is running the Greek catharsis machine on you. Hollywood didn't discover why we cry at movies. Aristotle wrote it down before movies, before film, before electricity. The technology changed. The machine inside your chest is the same one the Greeks built. But maybe you're thinking, fine, the emotions are ancient, but surely the modern movie business, the endless sequels and franchises, that's a new invention of greedy studios? Let me stop you right there, because this one might be the most shameless steal of all. Quick, be honest. When was the last time you complained that Hollywood is out of ideas, that it's all just sequels and part twos and trilogies now? Everyone says it. Everyone believes the endless franchise is a symptom of a creatively bankrupt modern industry. Here's the problem with that. The Greeks did it first. Their great playwrights wrote trilogies, connected stories, told across multiple parts, following the same characters and bloodlines through escalating drama, performed one after another. The most famous surviving work of Greek tragedy is literally a trilogy. Sequels are not a modern disease, they are a Greek invention. When a studio announces part 2, they are not being lazy and new, they are being lazy and ancient, dusting off a business model that is 2,500 years old. The Greeks would have loved a cinematic universe. They basically had one. And to fill all those roles, all those heroes and gods across all those plays, they needed a system for actors. And that system is sitting in Hollywood right now. Here's something that'll change how you see your favorite actor. Greek performers didn't act with their faces. They wore masks. Big, bold masks that instantly told the audience who this was. The hero, the villain, the grieving mother, the wise old king. One glance and you knew the type. The mask was a shortcut, a promise, an instantly readable character. Now think about how Hollywood casts. We say an actor gets typecast. We say he always plays the tough guy. She always plays the girl next door. That guy is always the villain. We literally cast actors as types the audience recognizes on sight. That is the mask. We just moved it from a physical object to the actor's own face and reputation. When you see a certain face and immediately think, oh, he's going to be the charming rogue, you are reading a mask. Exactly like an Athenian in the cheap seats reading a carved one. The face changed, the function is identical. And speaking of shortcuts, the Greeks had one more that Hollywood still uses when it writes itself into a corner. You know that ending. The one where the hero is completely trapped, all hope is lost, no way out, and then suddenly something swoops in from nowhere to save the day. A convenient rescue, an out-of-nowhere solution. Critics groan and call it lazy writing. Well, the Greeks did that too, so often that we still use their exact term for it. Deus ex machina, God from the machine. In Greek theater, when the plot got hopelessly tangled, they would literally lower an actor playing a god onto the stage using a crane, a machine, and that god would magically fix everything. God from the machine. Every time a modern film pulls a miraculous last-second save out of thin air, it is performing deus ex machina, a trick so old the name is still in the original Latin translation of the Greek. Hollywood's cheapest move is also one of its oldest inheritances. But the Greeks didn't just hand Hollywood its stories and its tricks. They handed it the entire celebrity machine. Here's the final piece, and it's the one that ties the whole industry together. We think of the star system. Famous actors, adoring fans, awards, red carpets, as a modern circus. It isn't. Greek actors became genuine celebrities, famous across the Greek world, adored by crowds, their names remembered. And the plays were performed at massive competitive festivals where writers and performers battled for top prizes, judged by panels, celebrated by the whole city. Famous performers, adoring fans, prestigious award competitions, a whole city stopping to celebrate its favorite artists. That is the Oscars. That is the entire celebrity ecosystem, invented wholesale in ancient Greece, 25 centuries before the first red carpet was ever rolled out. The Greeks built the movies, the emotions, the franchises, the typecasting, the cheap endings, and the fame machine. Hollywood inherited a fully working system and slapped a modern logo on it. So here's the real question, the one that actually matters. And it's not just, wow, Hollywood is unoriginal. That's the shallow version. The deep version is this. Why do the exact same stories, structures, and emotional tricks still work on us, flawlessly, 2,500 years later? Think about that. Everything about our world has changed. Our technology, our knowledge, our entire way of life would be pure magic to an ancient Greek. And yet the same hero's journey still thrills us. The same catharsis still heals us. The same gods, the same tears, the same rescues still land, every single time. That tells you something profound. The Greeks weren't just good storytellers. They reverse-engineered the human heart. They figured out the permanent, unchanging emotional operating system that every human being runs on, and they wrote the code for it so perfectly that it still executes flawlessly today. Hollywood isn't copying the Greeks because it's lazy. It's copying them because they got it right. They found the blueprint of what moves us, and that blueprint doesn't expire. So the next time you settle into a movie, popcorn in hand, screen glowing, and you feel that first tug of emotion, remember exactly what you are. You are not a modern viewer watching a modern invention. You are an Athenian on a stone bench on a hillside 2,500 years ago, watching the same heroes, the same gods, the same trilogies, the same tears, waiting for the god to descend from the machine and set it all right. The theater got darker and the seats got comfier and the gods got better special effects. But the play never changed. Because it was never really about the story. It was always about you and the ancient machine inside you that the Greeks figured out first. If this rewired the way you see every movie you'll ever watch, that's the whole point of this channel. Finding the ancient blueprint humming underneath the ordinary things you never question. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And tell me down in the comments, what modern movie do you think is secretly the most Greek of them all? I've got my answer. I want to hear yours. I'll see you in the next one.